Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the beautiful Sewing and Stitchery Expo. Here we're live Facebook with Quality Sewing and Vacuum. I'm back again today. I'm Carrie Philpott. I happen to be one of the elite national event educators for Pfaff sewing machines. And today I am sitting in front of the beautiful creative icon and its sister, the performance icon. I'm going to be talking about a lot of the beautiful features that these machines have that they can bring magic into your world. So please get your questions ready and let's get this party started today. All right, I was not looking for a new machine when I first sat down in front of the creative icon. And when I sat down in front of it, I went, ah, Pfaff did it. They created the machine that I have always been waiting for. What makes this machine that one that I've always been waiting for? Well, there's certain mechanical things, and that is that it is built on the same industrial frame that they have for their industrial machines, because Pfaff does make a lot of industrial machines that are out there in factories everywhere. It has 12.5 inches across, 5+ inches of height. The actual diameter in here is large enough to fit a king-size quilt. It also has another angling right here and here so that you're able to get bags and purses and things with angles, baseball caps or whatever you might be working on that has a larger curve. There's space for it in here. It has the most advanced lighting that you'll find in any machine on the market. No shadows, either to the right or to the left. So for my eyes, I can see what I'm working on. We can turn it up, we can turn it down, because this is a machine that offers us choices and options. So along with all of that, we have the beautiful built-in needle threader. Isn't that phenomenal? Do you want to see that again? Because I think that is just so much fun. Let's just put it right up here like this. And there it is. How about that? No more needle threading issues ever on this machine. They beefed up the feed dogs on this machine so that we've got extra feed dogs in the front as well as in the back, so that along with the integrated dual transfer system, or IDT as it's known, you can have perfect feed every time. The way the integrated transfer system works is something that Pfaff first developed, and everybody else has been trying to get it to be as good as the Pfaff, but this is the original. And the way it works is you have your feed dogs on the bottom, you have the transfer on the top, and they perfectly interlock together. So they clamp and feed, clamp and feed. And that gives us the most miraculous stitches that you'll ever have. Because that's really one of the flagship things from the Pfaff line of machines, is the beautiful, perfect stitch. Whether it's a straight stitch that you're doing for piecing a quilt, or whether it is one of the over 1,000 built-in decorative stitches that both the Pfaff performance icon as well as the creative icon feature. Pretty exciting, isn't it? They've also added the active stitch technology to this machine. So what is active stitch technology? Well, on a traditional tension, you have thread that just runs through, and it sort of works a little bit here and there in terms of always having the same amount of thread going through. The computer with the active stitch technology has rollers that the thread goes through. And as the thread goes through, it reads it and measures out exactly the right amount of thread. And that works whether it is your regular sewing thread, embroidery thread, or if you happen to be using something like one of the 12-weight decorative cotton threads, or the very fine 100-weight silk thread. Choices and options. If you find that it's not giving you the tension that you like, you can come over to the screen and always adjust your tension perfectly on our beautiful touch screen that the machine features. Now, you can also select that it's not active and it does have a traditional tension system in it. Choices and options. That's how I love to describe this machine. Now, I do have the embroidery arm on the machine because you can sew as well when you have your embroidery arm, so that it's right there ready for you to switch back and forth. And the way you can switch back and forth on this screen is just as simple as a touch of the button, where it comes up with all the places where all you do is just touch right now and it will switch over to embroidery. Touch it again and we're back to sewing. And if you want to go to the home screen, there you are. All these choices are right here for you at your fingertips. The Mysonet Blog. This is one that's a very fun feature, because what we do here is we educators are constantly updating. In fact, the Reuse Remake was just added last night to the screen of our blog. This is what we do when we're not actually sewing, is we're creating different projects so that we can upload this for you. Sometimes we'll even include a design that you might not get anywhere else. This happens to be one of the ribbon embroidery designs. We'll get back to the ribbon embroidery attachment in just a few minutes, but we'll go back to our home screen because we also have our help center. So you have all these built-in guides in the machine, including tips and tutorials. So if you're trying to figure out how to do something, you have it right here at your fingertips, including all of our exclusive stitching techniques that nobody else has. Should we talk about those for a few minutes? Because I think they're fabulous, and it's one of the reasons why I have truly loved the Pfaff machine, is because we have stacking stitches. And this is where you have two different lines of stitching that all create different patterns. We have radiant stitches. These are something I use a lot in quilting because they are absolutely beautiful to put this along the seam lines rather than just a stitch in the ditch. Ribbon embroidery. And you'll notice I have some different fabrics that I'm using on this. This one happens to be some suede cloth. The others were linen. This machine can handle whatever fabric you happen to want to use. Now, the ribbon stitches are fun because you can use them on a t-shirt, just like I've done here, where I've taken what was just a very ordinary t-shirt, and we all have those in our wardrobes, don't we? By adding this, I've suddenly given it a design creative technique that has embellished it to make it something uniquely mine. I love the fact that these things are all right here, along with the tutorials on how to do them. Now, here at Quality, we're very fortunate. We have a great education team on staff that is willing to go through and help you with some of these things if you find that contact with a person is better. Even though we're in lockdown right now, you can contact these people via the telephone or via Zoom, or through some of the YouTube videos that have been prepared for you. So you're never alone when you have a top-of-the-line machine that you get from Quality Sewing. This machine can handle all different kinds of weights because denim. Do you know what it costs to hem a pair of jeans these days? Last time I checked, it was like $20 to have a pair of jeans hemmed. And how often do you buy a pair where the hem's the right length? And some of us have been kind of living in some of our jeans while we've had COVID lockdowns this year. Well, I love the fact that on this one, as we'll zoom in on it, you can see that it went over the hump right here. All the stitches are exactly the same length. Otherwise, even with the humper jumper, sometimes you get one long stitch or one short stitch. I love the fact that they're all the same length. This happens to be 13 layers of the 14-ounce Levi denim. You can see The machine just went right through all of these layers, so it can handle whether you're doing denim, if you're doing a Carhartt, if you're doing a very high loft quilt, if you are doing a project with exotic fabrics, it can handle it. But being able to take the heavy weight and also do something that's very light and delicate, like this little christening dress that I made. And you can see how on this feather light batiste, there's pin tucking, the ribbon stitches, and the radiant stitches, all done on this absolutely feather light machine. And oh, by the way, in the embroidery unit, I did create all of this lace so that it would perfectly match what I was making. Having something that is a very precious heirloom for your family is something that is a true treasure to have and to behold. These are fabulous things that you can have right here in the machine. Certain things, though, are Pfaff's favorites, and that is all the beautiful stitches that come in the machine. And they're all organized into categories, which makes it very easy to find them. So if you want to, say, find one of those miscellaneous stitches, right here we have bows and hearts, and it will tell you that. In the next we have animals, and in the next one we have just plain fun stitches. When it comes to decorative stitches, there's a whole assortment of these that we have. But one of the things that Pfaff has been known for is our ability to create our own stitches, or to take existing stitches that are in the machine already and alter them so that they can become something more uniquely yours. Would any of you like to see how that's done? Am I getting a yes? It sounds like I'm getting a yes. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to close this screen and go to our Stitch Creator. And in our Stitch Creator, what I will do is I will bring in one of our decorative stitches. Let's just take this one right here, and we're going to separate it out, and we're going to close this screen so we can see it. Now what I can do is I can actually highlight this, going to Edit, and I can touch, and now it's just a single stitch. But that's not what I wanted. With a touch of a finger, though, I can go right back and create what I was trying to do, where I am now going to go with the individual stitch, and I am going to touch, and I'm going to delete, and delete, delete. We want to, oh, touch the trash can. And here I will do the same thing. And with my finger, I can scroll down now, and here I have a leaf. Now, a fun thing that I can also do with this now is I can save it with our little heart down here, and I will call it Leaf. And it's saved. Touch OK. I can now go back in and bring in this stitch. There it is. And I can go into my regular stitch edit, where I can now copy it. I'm looking for my copy button. I can make it longer. And I can mirror it and do a lot of different adjustments on this stitch right here in front of us. Go ahead and save it, and then be able to stitch this out as a continuous stitch. Very fun, isn't it? But there's so much more to this machine, because once again, your creativity is the only limit that you will have. If you can think it, if you can feel it, this machine gives you the capacity to be able to create it. Now, all of the things that I've shown you here on the creative icon are also available on the performance icon. So if you're somebody who's just looking for a machine that will sew and quilt and do all these beautiful decorative stitches, the performance icon is a wonderful choice for you. With the creative icon, we have added, once again, the embroidery functions to this. And by just touching this button, I can bring in the embroidery function right here on the machine. We have the ability on this machine to look at hundreds of different decorative stitches in different categories. All beautiful. In fact, here you can see some of these lace designs that I did. Here's the one that actually is on that dress. And by touching this, it should have brought it in. There it is. Touch and hold. And there it is. And by changing the hoop size very easily, by just touching the button right here, I can take it into one of our longer hoops. I can also change the color of the background so that you can see things more clearly. You can bring in the red. And by touching the hoop, there, now it's showing up, and so you can see. By bringing it over like this, touching and holding, I can duplicate it. I can zoom in now by just using my fingers so that I can perfectly align. So that now I have this as one continuous piece of lace. And I can copy this as rows and do multiple all at one time, all in one hooping. Because on this machine, you get the 3 hoops that come with it. You have the 120 by 120, which is great for your smaller projects. You have the 240 by 360 hoop, or the 260 by 200 hoop, excuse me, and you also have the 360 by 240 hoop so that you have the larger sizes to be able to do the projects that you really love to do. Now, I wanted to show you this because this is a hooping where I have done this and I've hooped a pocket crooked. Pfaff really loves to focus on being able to have the latest levels of technology. So I'm going to delete all of this, and I'm going to just sort of have a clean screen right there, and I need to find, where did I put that phone of mine? Here it is, right here. Because what do we have on our phones, on our tablets, and our computers? But we have apps. Once again, we're saying things like, we have an app for that. So if I go into my sewing, I have the Pfaff Creator Queue screen, which when I sign into this, will give me the ability to create designs on my phone and send them right to the machine. Now I do need to sign in on this. Give me a minute to sign in. Because it's so easy to do all of these things, and I misspelled my own name on this. Once you have a Mysonet account set up, there are so many fabulous things that you can do with this machine that are at your fingertips, because you can actually do some of these different things while you are actually out and about in the world. So what we do is we have a design placement app that will allow us to come in and take a photograph of our hoop. So I'm going to back this up just a bit. There. And you can adjust the corners on this. And by the way, this works with all of our Pfaff hoops as well as the Inspira hoops. I'm going to touch OK. And there we have a picture of this in the hoop. And when I touch this, I'm going to put it into my Pfaff Creative icon, and it does not want to work with this hoop today. So, but what it does is it gives us the ability to bring this image in on the machine, and then we are in a position where we can add whatever we want embroidery-wise and adjust it however we need. And you can be working on these things no matter where you are in the world. These machines, for their Wi-Fi capacity, work on any network, not just on your home network. So if you want to take your creative icon on vacation with you, or if you're going over to a friend's house, or if you're bringing it in for a class here at Quality, once they start having in-person classes, then you're in a situation where you can tie in to the Mysonet account that you have. And by doing that, you can bring in everything that you have stored on the machine, because these are designs that I have stored. And some of these I have brought in from the Mysonet library. Now, the Mysonet library is something that is available for this machine. And what you can do is you can bring up designs either on your tablet or on your computer, and by touching the cloud, you can send them to your machine so that they're sitting there waiting for you to be able to do any one of these designs. There are over 6,000 right now that are in the library available, including the little sheep. And here we have the sheep that are sewn out on a pillow. And that is a really fun design, and it's lovely to know that these are available to you through the Mysonet library. So that happens to be a fabulous extra that you have with this machine, in that it has all this fabulous Wi-Fi capacity. It has the ability still to put designs onto your memory stick. So I can take this and I can delete it now. And here I have the designs that I currently have on my USB. And although a lot of machines only can take up to a 2 memory stick, this one's a 30 plus, and it's a 32, and I've even run 64s on this. So I'm able to store all of my designs on a single USB and be able to organize them into different file categories so that I can keep this nice and tidy and still find the designs that I want when I want to find them.
Carrie, could we go back to sewing a little bit?
Sure.
And show people some of the features that are both on the performance icon and the creative icon, like all of those easy buttons at the front?
Oh, of course. All right, with the stitch edit, we have the ability to bring in a stitch, such as one of our satin stitches. And it's a 9mm machine. Oops. We can make it narrower. This one happens to be a 20mm stitch, but we can make it longer. All with just a touch of the button. We can change the tension. We can change the density. So you see, at the moment, it's a fairly dense stitch. But if you want to make it a little thinner because you're working with something that is a little bit denser fabric, you can do that. Or you can make the density tighter so that if you're working on a thinner fabric, you get a fuller stitch. It's also a good function to have if you're going to be using a 12-weight cotton thread, to be able to take a satin stitch and make it just a little bit thinner. That way you get a more even tension on it.
And what are the buttons across the top here, like the thread cutters? What do all those buttons do for us?
We're talking about the streamlined look of the creative icon and the performance icon.
Yeah, and all of these features are on both of these machines.
Absolutely. Everything I'm showing you right now is on both machines. They have made this very tidy so that we don't have to worry about what is in the way on these machines. First of all, we have our foot up and our foot down buttons right here at our fingertips. Now you can also just tap the foot on this same stitch. And if we touch the pattern repeat button, what it's going to do is it's going to sew one of those and it's going to stop. And since I told it to stop with the needle down, I can pivot at the corner, touch this button, and it's going to stop. And you can see how it has formed a perfect corner. Sometimes when we're doing our decorative stitches, it will stop in the middle of something on other machines. Having the pattern restart button gives us the ability to make those kinds of perfect tapered corners. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I think it's a lovely thing to have available to me when I am doing a lot of my decorative stitching.
Carrie, we had a couple of technical difficulties there, and the video, I think, got stopped a little bit. Like, I think there was a pause. So maybe you could go back and just go back through the needle up, down, the thread cutters, those again, in case we missed it.
Oh, I'd love to do that with you. All right, so we have our foot up and down manually. We have the ability to have our fabulous needle threader. We have our built-in thread snips. I don't know how any of us lived without those. We have the knot tie function, and I'm going to take a little different stitch that I'm going to show on this one now. Rather than one of our satin stitches, I'll pick up one of our decorative stitches. Let's just take the little flower here. And how it's showing it here on the screen, I can go and make it longer. I can make it a little bit wider. And I am going to just touch our start-stop button. And I'm going to touch our pattern restart button. So it's going to sew that one, and it's going to stop. And then I can use my thread snips and I will have that perfectly sewn out. And that is a pretty remarkable thing. And I did have a little tension issue there. You saw that I was sewing no hands. Maybe I should put both hands on the wheel. Let me see if I can find a different piece of fabric to show you how this works a little bit better with some stabilizer underneath it. Because we should be using stabilizer, shouldn't we? Well, this machine is saying it hasn't had enough coffee yet this morning. And so I am just going to check our threading on it real quickly. Because the bobbin is not quite in correctly. So we're going to change the bobbin. And it's lovely when it tells you these things because it has a loop in it. And that was what was causing a little bit of our issues that were going on here. Fits into place. Drop-in bobbin, and it's nice having a drop-in bobbin now because that's just a little bit easier on some of our fingers, isn't it? And how fast and easy it is to thread this machine. Using our needle threader, we'll just try this again now. And see how it's stopping, it's tying the knot, using our thread snips. And there we have our beautiful flower where I have altered the stitch and it's showing us true size on the screen, exactly how it's going to look. We also have a free motion setting button, which is a very cool thing to have. By doing this, we have different feet that we can use if we want to do free motion, including our ruler foot setting, where you can use that with our rulers so that you can make your own feathers and your own quilting designs, whether you're going to be doing that on a quilt, whether you're going to be doing that on a purse that you might be making where you want to have a little more texture, or something like the lapels on my jacket, where this was regular black linen, and I decided, because I ran out of fabric actually during COVID, imagine actually using up your whole stash, I decided I wanted a little bit of texture on the fabric, so I used the machine and its decorative stitches with some embroidery to make a different look to the fabric rather than just have it be the plain solid black. I did want to show one other thing in the embroidery, and that is how you can actually go and make your own applique designs. So we're going to go to embroidery. And the machine is saying that it wants a little rest. So I'm going to talk a bit about what we have that goes with it. And that is the multifunction foot control. Now, this is also based on the industrial machines that we have had with Pfaff, and it plugs in. One of the nice things is that it has rubber on the back. How many of us have chased our foot control pedals across the floor? This stays in one beautiful place when it's ready to work. So you just plug it into the USB, and it's going to show up here in just a moment.
And Carrie, is there a multifunction foot control for the performance icon as well?
Yes, this also works for the performance icon as well. And so I am going to put it into the sewing mode. I am going to plug it in. And it comes up with our settings. So what does this mean? Well, it means that when you use your foot to press down here, yes, the machine is going to go in a straight stitch forward or a decorative stitch forward. But if you wanted to use your heel, you select the functions, and you have 5 different functions you can start with. Let's just make it the cut function. But we also have the side petals that you can use with just moving your foot slightly to the side. And they have those same 5 functions that are available. So I'm going to select reverse. And for the other side, how about if we do foot up and down? So when we put fabric underneath, we can sew, we can cut. Oop, I have to touch. I can move side like this, and now it's going to sew in reverse. And it does that slowly. And I'm going to cut. And then I want my foot to come up all the way. And so I move my foot over to the side, and it moves the foot up and down. This gives us the ability to have hands free, so that we can use both hands on a project that we are using and also be able to have them without our hands interfering with what's going on. By using our foot, we're getting another level of control in our sewing and creative abilities. One other function that we have that goes with this machine is the multifunction ribbon attachment. And this is what I was using to make the little sheep design that was going on there. And it is something that is also available to us on the creative icon. Now those are embroidery function with the ribbon, so it's not going to be in the performance icon, but it's certainly going to be here in the creative icon. So Paul, I think, is coming over, and he's going to talk about some of the special offers that we have on these machines today.
Thanks, Carrie. That was a great demonstration. So I hope you all enjoyed the demonstration. If you have more questions on any of the Pfaff products or the Creative Icon, Performance Icon, please give us you can send me an email, paul@qualitysewing.com. You can call any one of our stores. We have a fantastic deal that we're offering on the machines here at Expo. We have the Creative Icon is on sale at a fantastic price, but the real deal is we have a limited number. I think there's 4 or 5 left that were factory serviced Creative Icons that we bought direct from Pfaff. They have a full new machine warranty, and those units are basically half of regular price. So they're a fantastic deal on those units. Plus, they come with a couple bonuses. One of the bonuses is they will come with that multifunction foot pedal at no extra charge. And if you buy one of those machines today while Carrie is still in town, Pfaff will send you a $250 rebate check on those machines. We have a fantastic deal on the Performance Icon as well. Also comes with the free multifunction foot pedal. So if you're interested, please give us a call. You can, if you're thinking, I want to think about it, it's a big decision, but I want to walk in, I don't want to miss this deal. You can call any one of our stores. They can take a $100 deposit over the phone that's fully refundable, so you have time to think about whether you want to proceed, and you can come in and pick up the machine next week, and we'll be happy to hold one of these special Expo machines for you. So be sure to tune in. We're going to be live at 11 o'clock today. We have a lot more great buys we're talking about. Thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you soon.